ricotta cheese person, Ruben?
That's what it is, ricotta cheese?
Ricotta.
Yeah.
Are you shitting me?
No.
Oh, that's disgusting. Why would anybody want that?
It's not, dude. That cheese is very creamy. So
no, yeah, but I assumed that
Have
it
you
was
heard
like...
cheesecake?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of cheesecake. I assumed that... Okay, that makes more sense, actually. All
You
right.
shouldn't be allowed to talk. I'll just say that much.
Okay, that's fair. All right. Okay, it looks like everything's good. Fuck, why does the frames keep dropping?
Do you have any applications open on your PC that are... I don't know.
I got 9% on my CPU. Nothing should be doing anything insane.
Do you have 96 Google Chrome tabs open?
I have 2 Firefox tabs. Google Chrome success as well. Yeah, that's right. I said it. Google, come at me.
Why are
That's
you
fine.
taunting Google?
Because they've had a shitty couple weeks, Fiona, and
Yeah,
I
you
think
know
you
what?
know that. Am I wrong?
Can we not talk about that? Can
Okay.
we not talk about that?
That's fair. That's fair. Okay. Let's try this again. Hopefully, nothing got fucked up. All right. I'm going to start recording
Okay.
now. This is already live, but oh well. Sorry, people. Oh boy. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cross Media Show. Today's topic is Attack on Titan, episode 9 of the final season. Technically episode 68, but we're very close to 69 next week. Very close.
Can't wait.
Can't wait either. Today's guests are the usual guests for Attack on Titan. Fiona, how's it going?
It's going great.
Yeah, is it? It feels like it's going great today. Christian, how's it going?
Gesundheit. I don't know why I keep saying Gesundheit. I'm doing well, thank you.
Good.
Glad to be here.
Good. And Ryan, who is cosplaying today. How's it going, Ryan?
I'm living. How about yourself, Ruben?
It was a good day, and then it stopped being a good day, you know, as soon as I spilled that Coke. I blame
That's because it
Canada.
was Canadian Coke.
Yeah, I blame Canada for this.
Canada has nothing to do with you spilling a drink on your
It has
keyboard.
everything to do with it. Maybe the cans up in Canada are just like... They don't have as much friction as they do in the U.S.
You rude.
Let's just jump right into it. Fiona, what did you think of this episode?
Hello. I thought that it was informative, but I didn't exactly enjoy it. Like I mentioned earlier, I think that it was needed. We
Mhm.
needed this information moving forward, especially with everything that's going to be happening next. Just like we saw in the first few episodes where we had kind of a lead up. This time it took a little bit of a weird situation where we went not only into present time, but before everything happened 3 years ago, not even 4 years ago. And this is kind of just what we needed. I think there was a few areas that were a little bit jarred,
Okay.
but I think overall this was needed in the long run.
Good. Yes, I happen to definitely agree with you. I think this episode, for me, this episode was very necessary just because I didn't understand what the fuck was going on partially. I didn't know who
Yeah.
these new people were at all. But I'm glad I finally got some background info. Christian, what did you think of this episode?
Yeah, just to kind of quickly recap my thoughts. I wasn't a fan of the nonlinear narrative entirely, just because I was enjoying the pace that we were building.
Yeah.
But then I reminded myself that it was TV, and it was needed. So it was nice to get kind of a reflective look, kind of back a little bit, kind of get some context.
Okay.
And then I really enjoyed like all the characters kind of reflecting on Sasha's death. I thought that was done really well.
Yeah.
But what I didn't quite enjoy was the exposition dump with like all of like Zeke stuff that we're getting in the middle of like Sasha's death, that to me just didn't
Yeah.
jive too much.
Yeah, I feel like if you're gonna like, don't turn this into one of those episodes where it's like, oh, she wasn't really a main character, so it didn't really count. Like, I feel like you should have focused the whole episode either on Sasha's death or Zeke's stuff. Don't half-ass it.
Mm.
Ryan, what did you think of this episode?
I'm definitely in the camp with you guys that I think this was one of the weaker episodes of the season so far. Not as far as Christian, because I also think we did need this information, and
Oh yeah.
I think maybe 2 episodes would have been good. One of full flashback like we got when got Armor Titan. Why can't I think of his name right now?
Reiner.
Ron Reiner.
Reiner, when Reiner was going through like his time over in Parody as a kid, and like that whole mission, how that episode worked. We could have gone 2 episodes, one of the morning and everything of Sasha and how that affected as the next episode, and this one being just them talking about what has happened in Parody, like how they got the plans to build all this stuff, how that whole mission came to be. I think would have been really interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then, yeah, no, that's really just my thought on it.
Okay. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think that this was necessary. I think I'm gonna have to disagree with you, Christian. I think this was an episode that was just as good as the rest of the season. Like, definitely, it was much better than like the first couple.
Oh no,
episodes.
for sure.
Just we needed to know why this was all happening, and we finally figured it out. You know, we finally got the.
No, I'm with
answers.
you. I don't think the episode is bad at all. I'm just saying it wasn't my favorite.
No.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I felt like, at least from like, just, my goodness, the way that it's like, this is the way that the manga had it written, except there was definitely a few areas where they shortened it down. For example, during like, and I'll talk about it later on, when they go into the meeting with the scouts versus kind of like the generals of Parody, with Historia and I think it's General Darius. That's shortened down just a little bit. But this is how the manga was written, and I know when I even read the manga, I found it a little bit jarring because there's definitely confusion, at least for me as well, because I completely forgot at the end, like after getting all this information, that we then just skip right to the future where we have like a bunch of things happening, and then the whole Zeke thing where Zeke's actually physically in Parody. I got confused. I'm like, is Levi in Parody? Like, even when I read like I said, I've read the manga, but I still got confused there because of everything, the way that it was moving, that I'm like, I have no idea what's happening anymore. So yeah, it just had a weird thing compared to the rest of the season.
It had a weird what? Sorry, you glitched out there for a second.
Pacing, sorry.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely did. Just like jumping back and forth between like the past and the present. You should have just picked one and stuck with it up until the middle of the episode where they do the break and then continue on with the rest.
I'm gonna ask Ruben a question. Oh, sorry.
Oh, continue.
No.
Go.
Okay, I'm gonna ask Ruben a question since he hasn't read the manga either.
Okay.
Is it just me, or is it like, I don't think I missed it. Is it still like weird / unclear that like Zeke has had this turn and has a plan to free Eldia? Like, I that just seems like very antithetical to the Zeke that I knew.
Yeah, I think it's definitely weird that after him fighting to regain the armor, the Founding Titan, it's weird that you just make that switch. But I guess he kind of has to now that Armin has the Colossal Titan, and that's something that he can't really, like, he can try to as much as he wants, but I don't think he can really combat that. So I think this was his only way to, you know, like, it's either do it diplomatically or I'm fucked.
Well, okay. This is a question for everyone then. Are his motivations like made clear down the road? Should I be expecting like some kind of okay?
Okay,
Awesome.
good.
Yeah, definitely be. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's funny because for Ryan and I who read the manga, they released the newest chapter yesterday. And there is a lot of tones of what's happening here
Mm-hmm.
in that chapter. Obviously, I'm not going to say absolutely anything, but it's interesting to see that kind of parallel between like this episode and where they are now, because you're like, oh shit, like that's one. It seems like 2020 where it's just like I don't. This seems like forever ago that this happened. At
Yeah.
this point,
Oh yeah,
I don't know how
definitely.
Ryan feels about it, but yeah.
No, I definitely agree. I don't know if they did that on purpose with the knowledge they had, but yeah, these lined up really well as parallels.
Yeah, it was bonkers.
Yeah. It also
Yeah.
like there was one exposition that I don't know if I would call it an exposition, but the way that Connie like was talking about Sasha was really weird to me because I didn't really see that as when he said, "Oh, she was like my twin." I was like, "Huh." I didn't get that from your I just thought it was like, close friends. Like not as close as our as Aaron with Mikasa, but like, close.
We'll
I thought that
see.
was off.
No. I understand. Like the whole dynamic was they were the comedy relief of the anime, and they were like, if you saw Connie, you saw
Okay.
Sasha,
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
and
Mhm.
back and forth. And now, like, you can even tell the episode, like Connie's not joking. Like
Yeah.
he's not joking like he usually does. And if like we all know for a fact, if it wasn't Sasha who died and Sasha was there, they would still be making jokes. Like they would be cracking up a joke about the person who died, like saying like, "Man, why didn't they say this?" Like, haha, and then like kind of like poking each other with each other's elbows. But it's that's why he kind of said like, "This is half of me is gone." Like literally the kind of like the upbeat half that allowed me to like be able to look at this in a positive light is now gone.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I totally. Okay. Now that kind of makes sense. I just felt like it was off that he, twins. I was like, I don't know about that. But
Oh no, not physically though.
no, 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 no. I know, but like, it just was a weird thing that caught me off guard.
Yeah.
Should we get straight into it?
Yeah,
Christian,
absolutely.
you good?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Ryan?
Oh yeah, no,
Okay.
no.
All right. Just checking.
Thank you, Hanji. We appreciate it.
I'm glad I'm here for you guys.
Good, you should be.
Oh man, guys. So we begin the episode in a very dark room with essentially a few torches, and we see Armin sitting on the ground with a conch shell. Like I think that's what it's called. He's holding it in his hand and just kind of like reflecting about what just happened. We assume at this point this is him returning from Marley and then just kind of talking about what's happened. But he's kind of reminiscing and saying like, "I doubt that this is something you want to hear, but this is like 3 years ago. Like if we had done something different, maybe things would have changed, but I don't like," and he kind of goes into he doesn't think so, but that's where we kind of start off the episode with a flashback of 3 years ago as told by Armin. Oh, sweet baby Armin. Um oh man.
By the
Oh
way, I never
guys.
understood the symbolism of
So
the shell. I, don't- I didn't get like why he was.
The peacefulness of the beach, I think, is my guess.
Okay, yeah,
mhm. Yeah,
agreed.
maybe to kind of keep him grounded, just being like holding on to something that might help him relax might be the shell because of the fact for 3 seasons he tried to get to the ocean.
Yeah.
I
And
don't even
then
know
the
if they
enemy was
explain it.
across the way.
It was this
Some might say he's
just gonna
still
shake
trying.
my
He's still trying to get to the ocean. Just saying.
I mean, you could say he just decided to he can now just move the ocean wherever he wants to
Yeah,
Mm.
that also works.
because he did that in episode 7?
Yeah.
Yeah, episode 7. Oh my god, it feels like a forever ago. Alrighty, so we start off kind of going from one dark place to another. It's now the middle of the night, and we see some ships in the coast area. We don't really know specifically where they are, but we find out that one team is currently missing, and that they headed ashore. We have not received any contact. And so the captain of the ship says, okay, so we'll send out teams 2 and 3. And we can assume that this is Marley because of how advanced the ships are. They're made out of metal. And obviously, at this point, since it's only been 3 years, we can assume that Parody hasn't just randomly been able to make a navy in the past year. If they're able to do so, that's really impressive. So he goes on to say that this is the Island of Devils defeated. The Island of Devils defeated the warrior unit. Whatever the cost, Marley must learn what happened. However, his plans are quickly derailed as the front of the ship starts to lift off the ground. And everyone starts flying backwards. Men are falling to their deaths. The captain tells them midway falling down and then finally grabbing on, saying, "Hold on." You would assume he would say that first, but he said, "Hold on," afterwards. Oh,
He's
God.
like halfway down
And
the
then
ship.
we kind of, yeah, it's not even like, I would understand it was like if they're being lifted up and he says, "Hold on," but he was halfway gone when
Mhm.
he was just like, "Hold on." We watch people literally fall to their death. Rest in peace. You assume that he kind of realizes the situation, but we learn later on he actually doesn't know what's happening other than the fact that his ship has been lifted off the ground. And you would assume so, but we kind of realize later on he didn't recognize or understand the situation. But we see that the attack titan has actually picked up the ship on his shoulders, just like he did with the boulder in season 1, and kind of reminiscent of season 3, where we saw the original Kruger pick up the ships in the harbor and crush them and like destroy them in the harbor. When we saw Grisha and Dina and the rest of the Eldian support group get turned into Titans. So I thought that was kind of cool to see that symbolism between Kruger and then we see Aaron, who just pretended to be Kruger, do the exact same thing, but this time he's moving the ship, not just completely demolishing it. He roughly drops the ship back onto just onto the shore, and then we are eagerly greeted by the lovely Hanji. Oh my goodness. And she's come up with a whole idea, a full skit, um, saying, "Hello, friends of Marley. Welcome to Parody Island. I'm Hanji, here to greet our guests who've come so far across the sea. Now step this way and join us for some tea. By the way, we're already friends with the guests that have arrived with you." And we see Levi not impressed by this entire situation with Niccolo in front of him. And we see Niccolo kind of like crying, but like also just like really upset about the situation. But Levi just seems not okay with this entire like skit that Hanji is doing, which I thought was quite amusing. Just because this is one on brand, and two, just like the fact that I just want to be in the room where Hanji says this is what we should do, and then Levi had to listen to Hanji because Hanji's the commander. Like I want to be there. Oh man, because
Yeah,
this
he
is
just
not how Erwin would have dealt with this at all.
So I've been taking sketch comedy classes. I think this is the time we pull it out.
Oh god, it's so good.
I love Levi in
Um,
this episode.
yeah, Levi just seems like he's like done with everybody. He's
Mhm.
just like, if anything, I'm sick of your shit. I'm sick of your jokes.
And now we know why
But we,
Aaron is the way he
yeah,
is, to be honest. Picks it up from Levi.
oh my god. I mean, uh, Levi, but see, the thing is, there's like Aaron ran with it, and then he just like surpassed Levi to a point where he's just too much. Just maybe Levi shouldn't have kicked him so often. Like, that's essentially where I'm at with this.
The edginess factor on that boy is next level.
Oh my god. Oh god. So yeah. So Hanji wraps her arm around Niccolo and says, like, isn't that right, Niccolo? And then he says, forget about me. Please kill the devils of parody. And we also see the fact that he's not there on his own discretion, that he is currently being escorted by Levi with a sword in his back. So he needs to follow all of Levi's instructions at this point, but he's just telling his captain to just shoot. And honestly, the captain took that opportunity and was about to shoot at them, and said, go drink your pig piss with your filthy friends, which was not a good idea, but is run with later on in the episode.
It was
and
so
we
good.
see Hanji.
It wasn't even necessary though.
Oh my god. Honestly, it's just the Marlians just don't like
Yeah,
the Eldians whatsoever.
of
But I
course.
do appreciate the fact that Hanji pointed out, like, you really want to say stuff like that? Like, you really want to start when there's a Titan right behind you? And then they all realized who had been carrying them the entire time.
Yeah,
Like, I would have assumed that they would have picked up on that.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, why? Why do you want to die or do you want to live? You know, but clearly they want to die, which is fine.
Oh my god.
You know?
It was, yeah. God, so much action coming on here. But then, yeah, the captain's about to shoot, and then a gunshot goes off. We find out that it wasn't him who shot, nor was it Sasha. It was one of the actual Marleyan soldiers herself, Yelena, who shot him square in the head. And while she had a gun pointed at her from another soldier saying, like, Yelena, you have to put your hands up, she's like, no, you should put your gun down,
Yeah.
as the rest of the soldiers on the ship turn on him. She's just like, reverse trap card. Like, here you go. Like, you think I'm the one who's gonna get in trouble here.
Joke's on you.
That joke's on you. Yeah. The Marleyan military or army has been infiltrated from the inside, and they all seem really shocked. And while Yelena just smiles at Hanji and says, yeah, let's have some tea, and accepts the invitation. And we can tell that Hanji and the rest of the scouts are like, we have no idea what's happening. So
Yeah.
this is not planned whatsoever. And yeah, she turns around to Aaron and says, I've been waiting for this moment for a long time. And that is when the opening starts. That
And we
is
start
some
dancing.
of the... Yeah, do. Yeah, the opening still slaps.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, the opening is really good. I didn't start really watching it to the past few episodes. Now I'm just catching little things I didn't notice in it each time I watch it. I'm like,
Wasn't it
this
the
is
new
just a
one?
fantastic opening.
Is it still the same opening? I thought it was a new one.
No, it's the same opening.
Ah,
Same opening.
okay. Okay.
Did you get a new opening?
I mean, I
Have
thought
you
it
gone
was
opening?
the new. I might have to rewatch it again, but I thought it was the new opening. Because it's a
Okay.
I know
different.
there have been talks that they're going to switch,
Yeah.
but it's the same opening.
Okay, I could be wrong.
I mean, that's a pretty common thing at episode 13 for animes to switch openings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see a second opening definitely being, especially for how I think the second half of this will go.
Yeah. I
It'll
could be wrong.
be-
Don't mind me. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's okay. I think they're probably going to switch before the end of the season. They're not just going to keep on doing that, because I think that set the tone for the Marley war, and then the infiltration of Marley, and then we just kind of had like the follow-up with the Marleyans coming back.
Yeah.
But I think this will probably lead to a new opening, because now they're back in parody, and they're probably going to stay there for a bit.
Now I'm
Yeah.
second guessing myself. What if there was a new opening and I just can't remember?
Oh, I know there was not a new opening, because I made sure, because I remember last time I said I've been skipping the opening, and you called me out and you're like, "You've been skipping the opening?" So I made sure I sat down and watched the entire opening this time. So I didn't get shamed. Um, but yeah, I watched the entire opening, and then we come to seeing like they have an entire kind of base now made with a bunch of tents, and this is where the scouts have been staying near the ocean. But we see the small group of Connie, Jean, Mikasa, Armin, and unfortunately Sad Boy as well, which we'll get into in just a few minutes here. But they kind of talk about the fact that like this huge lady shot their commander, and now we're supposed to just agree with them. I don't think that's how it should work. Connie and Jean are both like hesitant about the whole like honestly being trusting them, because she just turned around, shot her own like captain, and then now she's trying to provide information. Like it seems really off.
Mm-hmm.
And then says whether friend or foe, she's not to be trusted. Um, this is when Mikasa goes over and wakes up Sasha because she's just done with it and going to sleep.
Yeah.
I had to put a note of that because it was just hilarious, because you just see like them having a serious conversation and Sasha like just dead. She's just like sleeping, and
She doesn't
then
have time for
Armin
this
trying to
shit.
look at the positives of the situation. Yeah, she has no time for it. If they're gonna just be talking strategy, why doesn't she just take a nap? There's enough of them. But yeah, Armin tries to look at the positive of the situation, and saying that even though it's a different situation, they're willing to give information and looking at the positive outcomes of everything. However, we then have negative come in, Aaron, talking about the fact that it was pure chance that they stopped that particular ship, and that if Marley comes in with their forces, we're all going to be screwed.
Yeah.
Like, Aaron, this is the ocean all over again. Stop raining on people's parades.
Just leave me
Oh
alone,
man.
you know?
Yeah. I mean, he's just having a time. Let's be real. Um, God. Then we cut to one of Hanji's many dumb moves where she's looking down the barrel of a gun.
Dude. Okay.
Just
Yes. That worried me so much. I wasn't sure if you were gonna bring that up. Yeah.
It should have worried you.
Yeah, no, I put
You already lost one eye. Be careful here.
just like
2 eye patches.
and now she's blind. No, this was the most concerning scene that I've seen in a very long time. There's a lot of stuff that's happened, and looking down the barrel of a gun with like I know the bullets were out at that time because she was looking at the gun like down the barrel, and then she was looking at the magazine. But God, was this a dumb move? But no, that's Hanji. Is just looking at the barrel of a gun, and then she's just like, "That's how it shoots a bunch," realizing how many bullets are in the gun itself. Just really excited about the whole situation. Levi could not care less about this, other than he wants to hear information. Like, why are you taking this point to look through a gun? This is not the time, Hanji.
Of course
And
not.
it seems like there's a lot of points in this where Hanji and Levi have like telepathy and just talk to each other like without saying a word. But yeah, they're sitting across the table from Yelena in Onyekobin. And I apologize if I'm pronouncing his name incorrectly, which if I am, please let me know. But
Glad we
yeah,
finally got
they
some
are
people of
talking.
color in this show.
Yeah. And then they talk about it later on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I do.
Sasha. Oh, Sasha.
Oh,
Yeah, they
that's
talk
right.
about how many. Why do you have dark skin?
Yeah. Yeah.
But no. They talk about the fact that they have 1,000,000 soldiers. Like Yelena breaks it down for us, does the math for me, thank you. That there's 20,000 soldiers per division with 50 divisions. That's 1,000,000 soldiers. And then there's their navy with 3 fleets, each each comprised of 21 ships, which is 63 ships total. Which now they probably don't have as many ships as they did before. Dun, dun, dun. And the fact that they have progressed significantly in both water and aerial. weaponry, which Hanji gets interested in aerial because obviously that's in the air. And they kind of talk about this for a little while. This is a very long section of them talking about military and going back and forth between like Parody and Marley and kind of like where they're at. Um, yeah, this was a huge chunk of information. But yeah, they kind of go back and forth. We see kind of like Hanji getting shocked about certain pieces of information and Levi just kicking her in the leg and giving her looks like you need to shut up. Like if
Yeah.
you look weak, they're going to
Yeah.
take that weakness and we can't allow that to happen. We need to be like
Strong.
we need to be the strong power in this situation because they could easily take over things. But Elena also points out as well that like one of the major reasons why we didn't come over here in the first place, there was two reasons. One was the pure titans that we sent out into Purity would also cause us problems in the long run because they wouldn't have a way to control them. They're pure titans. So that was one of the reasons why, because originally it was to keep the people, the Eldians in, but it actually ended up being the protection of the Eldians. And then she notices, well, actually, as well, we're currently sitting out beyond the wall, and you guys are able to put up tents, and it's about to be sunrise. Like, how are you able to do this? Does this mean you've killed off all the Titans? And Levi says, like, what is, like, what if that's what it means? Like, are you going to go run back to Marley and tell them that we killed off all the Titans? And she said, no, I'm just very impressed by this situation that they're able to sit there. And they assumed that they were going to come in with just a bunch of dead people and just pure Titans just surrounding everywhere. But that was definitely not the case. So they're kind of realizing that the Eldians in the wall might be stronger than they believed in the first place.
Yep.
But yeah, also they talked about the war a little bit and the fact that their enemies realized that they lost the warrior units mostly, except for one, and that they've lost the female and colossal titan. So they took it upon themselves to declare war on Marley as a one group against the group that's been constantly terrorizing them with the titans, which was great for them, not great for like great for them for a while until they lost them.
Yeah.
This is the first time I heard, like, it dawned on me, because I always had thought that it was like Marley invading other people and like fighting other countries or whatever, but like we got to learn that it's the other way around. So that was nice for me.
Mm-hmm.
That it hasn't always
Definitely.
been just Marley.
Mm.
But yeah, they kind of question her alliance and realize like, oh, so you just must be like one of the people that were an outsider and infiltrated the Marleyan military to be able to do this. And Elena corrects her and says, no, that's not the case. Like, we were just a bunch of people, a bunch of Eldians who wanted freedom, but we were beginning to become hopeless because we didn't have enough power. But then realized that we have a titan that the world feared and called a devil. And then she was referring to Zeke, and then realizing that she followed Zeke because of his strength and his abilities, which was, yeah, it was a, yeah. And their major goal is to free the Eldian people. And I put a sad face, well, like a happy cry face, because I think that's really nice that they want to do that. And they're called the Marleyan Volunteers, not the Marleyan Warrior Unit. Oh, the anti-Marleyan Warrior Volunteers, my apologies. But yeah, that was the contained version of it. I did technically write out all the conversations, but I am not going to go through that
Whoa.
because, yeah, strategically it seemed like important information, but then I read over it and I'm like, no, if we want to sit here for 4 hours, by all means. But yeah,
Mm.
it was really like this was one of the scenes that I didn't really find interesting, but I knew that it was important to like understand both sides of the coin is the best way to put it. But it was not my favorite scene, probably because it was so dialogue heavy.
There's just a lot of context, world building.
Yeah.
Yeah, which once again we needed.
Yeah.
But I will say it was definitely not my cup of tea. But We
No, it definitely reminded me of I think it was episode 3 this season where they went into everything to do with like the warrior unit and like how Marley's military set up and all that. It was very akin to that episode.
Yeah, it was very, very much dialogue heavy. And I remember when I read this, I kind of skipped it a little bit in the manga because I'm like, this is a lot. This is a lot of information. But yeah, we cut to a scene where they're back in the center wall, talking to the generals, commanders, guards, as well as the like the head general himself and the queen. We got to see Historia, which was kind of exciting. She didn't say anything, but she was there. And talk about they go over Zeke's plan. Obviously, no one wants to do this, especially with the fact that Zeke sent a like changed an entire town, which was Rag. No, it's Regacco? Regacco. Yeah, Regacco, which was the town that Connie's family was the part of, turned them all into Titans in season 2 and then ran amok with them. So they do not want to trust Zeke whatsoever. Even General Darius said, like, the last time he was here, he like literally took out the majority of the scouting unit. We should now at this point, all his major goal was to retake the founding Titan, and since he can't take it by force, he's going to try to do this diplomatically, which is why he's doing it this way this time. So he still believes that his idea is to take back the founding Titan. He's just doing it in a different manner this time rather than by force. And Hanji reads over the plans. According to Zeke, he has a secret plan to solve the Eldian issue. To carry it out, he requests the founding Titan and the Titan with royal blood. However, he will only reveal the plan if his conditions are met, which no one is okay with that. Everyone's like, hell no. Like, this is not a good idea. Like, this is literally what we thought he was looking for, was to get the founding Titan back. But then Aaron just jumps in and says he's right. This is what we would need to do, and then explains the rumbling, which is he would need to, for him to be able to use the founding Titan ability to full capacity, he needs to be touching a Titan with royal blood, which he was able to do that a little bit during season 2,
2, I think.
when he touched touched Dina's hand. I'm sorry. We're literally on a podcast. But yeah, he touched Dina's hand and was able to control the Titans to go after her and the other Titans. So he realizes all this, explains it to everybody. What's up?
No, I just had to watch this scene like 3 times. It got a little too convoluted for me. I was like, wait.
Yeah, it was a bit too much.
I had trouble keeping it straight for a second.
Yeah, the way that he was worded, because Aaron's not, I'm going to put it, he's not very grammatically correct. And when he comes to like explaining things, he's not very good at explaining certain situations clearly. So yeah, he realized that he was able to use the full Titan power by touching another Titan with pure blood. And that's why he was only able to see certain things when he touched Historia. But he wasn't able to use the Titan, like the founding Titan, to the full capacity. And that's why when Levi said, like, why were you quiet about this for all this time? Which, quite honestly, I'd be pissed too. I understand why Levi's mad. Like, you decided to keep this quiet for over a year. You knew this. Like, at this point, it's been a year and a quarter. So he's been holding this information. But he said, Aaron says, well, the reason why I did this was because I knew that if I told you, Historia's safety would be put into danger, because you guys would be tempted to turn her into a Titan and then have me like do things with Historia to be able to use my full Titan power. Yeah, it was a lot. So it was a lot of going back and forth. We also got to see General Dot again, which was really nice. He's the guy with the mustache. And he says, like, we should be listening to like what they want to say, and we need to probably have a conversation with the anti-Marleyan volunteers. But we'll need them to be able to get assistance and be able to look into this further. But they do kind of talk about the rumbling, where it means that Aaron would be touching a founding titan. He would be the founding titan. He'd be touching a titan with royal blood, and then would be able to set off all the titans in the wall, which is the rumbling. I'm a little bit upset because in the manga, you get to see the rumbling a little bit. Here, they don't show it for good reason. They did the same thing in episode 5 when they were doing the story. They kind of show clips of it in the manga. They don't show it in the anime whatsoever because, yeah. Thumbs
Oh
up.
yeah, they did. They did show that. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Maybe they're saving it for another episode.
Oh, they're going to be saving it for the rumbling.
I do not want to see the rumbling. I know we will. I don't think that's a justifiable means to free Eldians, I guess.
You know what it is?
You are not alone.
It's just going to be Aaron eating something and it's too spicy and then he just releases some gas.
What?
What?
The rumbling.
What?
His stomach is rumbling, you know? No. Okay. Cool.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
I appreciate the effort you put into that.
Yeah. I was thinking about it for a couple.
Are you saying he's a rumbly tummy? Like, what's
yeah,
happening?
Yeah. The
Rumbling
rumbling
tumbling.
is what happens when a Titan eats spicy food. No.
Oh my god.
Shut up, mister. I don't like cannolis.
I mean,
I
cannolis
don't know.
just, they don't look good.
He doesn't like cannolis. Oh my god.
It's weird
Yeah,
that they're made out of cheese now.
I mean, yeah, a lot of sweet dishes are made with cheese.
I just assumed it was like cake frosting, you know? Because it kind
Different
of.
types of cannolis, you know that.
I didn't know that. Come on. Who would know that there's.
Ruben, you're the one in New York. You're the one around cannolis.
Yes, dude.
All the more reason why I don't
literally in
eat
New
it.
York.
I think you need to be eating more cannolis. I think that should be.
Correct.
Oh, you see what it is? I
2021.
think of. It's mascarpone is what I think of, you know?
Ooh, I love mascarpone.
Oh,
That's why.
mm,
Okay.
yeah.
But enough about cannolis.
All right.
This is a new cannoli-centric podcast.
No, we don't need that.
Yeah. We went from the simp cast to now we're going to talk about cannolis for
I'd
Cannoli cast.
rather be known as the cannoli cast than the simcast.
Oh god.
Chocolate drizzle.
right.
So they add it or not.
Mm.
There you go. So many different options for cannolis. But yeah, Ruben seems like he is disheveled. So we'll continue on with this.
Thank you.
Hanji says that they need ends from the anti-Marleyan group. And so we cut to a scene where we see the two other ships that were with the anti-Marleyan volunteers. And we're saying, they call in and say, we need assistance. We've been drifted ashore and we need assistance. We're currently crashed on the side in the cove. And we find out that Yelena's feeding them this information. And so they say, do not worry, we will send people to come and assist you. So two small ships go off the large Navy ships, go towards the land. And in the middle of doing that, we see the most controlled explosion of the colossal titan I have ever seen, where he is able to contain the explosion compared to what he did in episode 5, and we see the colossal titan explode from the ocean, which I thought was very impressive and insane compared to like we saw Barrett not really control the colossal titan as much as Armin does, but it was pretty much a controlled explosion compared to what we've seen during this season, because we saw I think it was episode 3, we saw the atomic bomb version, which was what Barrett used in their in the Marleyan War, because that was when they were talking about each Titan's abilities, and then we saw him completely destroy the port in Marley, and then now we're cutting to him just kind of small explosion enough for to scare the two ships. Everyone off the ships jump off because Onion Copen told them to jump off to save themselves, but they were actually stopped by.
I love Levi's line
I'm
here.
laughing. Oh my god. Levi just cannot handle himself. 1 second here. Yeah. I'm already like 3 pages ahead for not 3 pages, but still. He says, "Welcome to the filthy island of filthy devils. You're gonna love it. As long as you like pig piss. You can leave the island if you want, but you can't leave on a ship. I hope you know how to swim." Oh, Levi. And then they capture the rest of the Marlians. Congratulations, scouts. You got one over on the Marlians. Um, we cut to sad boy Armin talking in the darkness with the shell again, saying, "Certainly we Eldians are feared and hated by the world, by people across the sea whose faces we don't know. But not everyone across the sea was our enemy. And we found out that the world is complex and full of unknowns. We see Onion Copen showing the maps to the scouts, and the scouts being super excited with all this new knowledge. Even Hanji kind of like putting her hand on his shoulder, saying like, "Good job! Like this is amazing! Like thank you for doing this." And our girl Sasha asking, "Why do you have dark skin?" Onion Copen. Which the face, like, if you freeze framed everyone in that room, you saw Jean being like, "What? You cannot ask that question." Like, his face was completely horrified that she asked that. Everyone else looking at her like, "Oh, she's done it now." But yeah, he explains it. He seemed, at first, he was like slightly confused, but then kind of seemed really excited because he had his hand on his chin, doing like the cool guy swag look with a smirk, saying that like tell that the creator chose him to be that way. That it's more interesting with a mix of people. You subjects of Ymir are all the same. We exist because we are wanted. And then Armin asks, "Who created us?" Asking all these questions. These are deep hitting questions, my friends.
Real deep.
And
This conversation.
explains like,
Sorry.
what's
This conversation happened, and I was like, "This is a weird time to have this conversation," but like I get it. But it was just I thought it was a weird placement.
Sometimes that conversation just comes up, man.
Mhm.
This is true. This is true.
Also, it's a weird thing because like they've never seen a person with a different skin color before, except for Mikasa, and she was almost sold off as a child bride in
Yeah.
season 1. So it's yeah, they just have no filters apparently. Eldians known for becoming titans and having filters. Yeah, and Onion Copen mentions the fact that the person who gave the founder Ymir power, God. That's what some people believe. Aren't we all free to think what we want? We are all free to think what we want.
How do we are?
What
Is
a
that
nice
you? Is that
thing
you
to
saying
say.
that? Or I don't.
Yeah. No, he
Okay.
says that. He's like, everyone should be free. Shouldn't everyone be free to think that? And then I agree with that.
Okay, cool. That's what I
Everyone
thought. Yeah.
should be free to think what they
Yeah.
want.
First
Yeah.
mention of God, which is interesting. I thought.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it was just a weird placement for this conversation and a weird
No,
thing to.
It's great. It's an outsider. We're getting an outside perspective.
But what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
shouldn't they have had this conversation like as the minute they saw him? Like the minute they joined forces,
You think like
they should have been like, "Wait,
you mean
well,
they had a
they
gun
had-
in his face?
no." But I'm saying like the minute
You
that
mean-
the
No,
No.
this is a more natural conversation topic, not so
Mhm.
much
Yeah.
a thing you need to know.
okay,
This is
all right.
them becoming more comfortable with him.
Okay,
Mhm.
Because
okay.
I don't think you point a gun at someone's face and be like, "Why are you this skin color?" Like
What-
that's a whole
No, we
thing.
don't do that one.
I'm not saying that moment. I'm saying the minute that they realized they were on the same side, that should have been when you had that conversation. But
I think
I
that's
digress.
Again. Go ahead.
go ahead. I'm just...
Oh no, I was gonna say I think this is why Hanji like said like you guys must be outsiders infiltrating the Marleyan inside the Marleyan war units, that you guys must be outsiders. That
Yeah.
may have been her being like, this is me kind of like feeding around the bush, like just like trying to avoid it. But yeah, I don't know. Interesting. I also think that the only person who would ever ask something like that is Sasha, because Sasha has zero filter.
Of course.
And it's also when they were like eating and stuff too. So like those kinds of conversations happen around like dinner.
Yeah. Okay.
Sasha starts acting up around food. You know this.
Yeah, because we cut to right, like they're outside. It's probably like the next day or a few days, or who knows, because they don't typically say the timeline. They're outside. Everything looks great, and they see a bunch of food on the table, and there is Jean, Connie, Sasha, and a few others. And Jean's just like, "What? What is this? Like, what is this weird food? Like, is it supposed to be edible?" And Sasha mentions like it smells kind of fishy. But Yelena says, like, have you not had seafood before? Which seems like, for a place that's an island, that is definitely an odd question, but I could see why they're very confused. And she tells them that Niccolo is a master of Eldian cooking. Niccolo kind of chimes in under his breath, like, jerks, if you don't like it, don't eat it. But before he's able to kind of continue his anger, I put is quickly cut off by a Sasha Titan roar after biting into a lobster with her teeth. That is no easy feat, guys.
No.
She took a lobster, bit it open, and ripped the flesh out of its like exoskeleton.
Yeah.
Like she went off, which is usual for her, but obviously none of the Marleyans were used to this, and she was just eating as much as she could and just sobbing at the same time, saying that it was so good in between bites, when Connie and John also like are looking at her with horror at first, but then join in and start consuming as fast as she is. And he's just like, you guys need to stop eating like pigs. But Sasha says, like, Niccolo, you're a genius. She first says, Niccolo, you're a food genius, which he looks shocked, but also really impressed because he starts blushing. And then he tells her to stop eating like a pig, but then is kind of happy about it at the same time. And it's so cute. I love this. And then you like, if for a split second you forget about what happened last episode, and then you're like, man, they must be so happy. Like, you could see this entire relationship like blooming in like 10 seconds, and then you realize what's happened. Yeah, I'm just gonna crack my knuckles. Yeah.
I loved it, but like for me it didn't work 100% because it was introduced and like you it's like and wraps up in the same episode, I guess.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see him react to Sasha dying.
There you go.
What, Niccolo?
Oh yeah, that's right. He wasn't on the airship, so never mind.
No.
Yeah.
No, he's a Marleyan, so he wasn't, and he wasn't a part of the plan.
Yeah, my apologies.
Yeah, no. Like, there's so much happening that like last episode feels like
ages
a month ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Technically, it was a month ago, if you think about it.
Oh my god! Throw everything and then just unplug my
flips the
headphones
table.
again accidentally. Oh my god. I mean, it was
2021.
Yeah, but yeah. Oh man, yeah. This episode, like that entire part, kind of kills me, just because of what happens later on. Yeah.
They could have been happy.
Yeah. They could have been happy. Yeah. No. 1000%. Especially with the fact you don't just randomly take some girl 24 white roses to her grave. That's not just like oh, you were someone who came to my shop and bought some food. Like, you're yeah. Which yeah. We cut to Armin, Mikasa, and Aaron doing shooting practice, and a lot of people comment on Mikasa in this particular scene because you get to see her butt for a large portion of it. Congratulations, people who are simping over Mikasa. But I digress. That happened a lot on Twitter and TikTok, and
Mhm.
so I just thought I'd point that out. But yeah, it was weird. But yeah,
I like.
that's definitely not the particular point. Oh, what's up?
I just like the scene. Just it was nice to see like our three characters like interacting for the first time in a really long time
Yeah.
and having conversations like they used to in the earlier seasons. So it was nice for me to see that moment.
Armin not being so serious. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Aaron?
Mhm.
No, Armin.
Oh yeah, Armin wasn't
Yeah.
serious. He was being like his old happy self
Yeah.
as they were just kind of having conversations about it. But then Aaron had to rain on like this particular point seems so confusing to me because they were talking about like how everything was going great. They were working on a port and that the Marley engineers were helping them out to create the port and they were able to get things done faster because of them. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, Aaron's just like, so do you remember, did you get Barrett Hold's memories? Like, that has nothing to do with this conversation, dude. Like, they were just so happy about like some accomplishments that they're actually hitting, and then Aaron's just goes back to all business, um, and Armin says like nothing really important, and
Mhm.
yeah, I thought that was a little bit disjointed, just because there was no real like reason for him to question him about Berthold's memories, but I guess it once again it was needed. Also, it may have played out like if we have to think big picture, it probably played out differently if this was a real conversation. But since this was Armin's recollection of what happened 3 years, like years ago, it was probably Armin trying to remember those particular circumstances, and that's why it probably seemed a little bit jarring, is because they were having a conversation, and then he kind of you can tell during his story, like his like explanation of this episode, Armin's just getting really tired of Aaron because everyone seems to be like in this tone. And then all of a sudden he talks about Aaron, and Aaron's like either very negative, which he has been, but not to the extent that like has been represented in this episode. And then just like how detached Aaron is compared to the rest of the conversations. That's at least what I picked up on
Mhm.
because I realized that at the end of the episode that it seemed very off for him to talk about Aaron in this way, but yeah. So it just kind of goes on where they talk. Oh, continue.
No, it's like I can see that. I think I read something. I think I read that very similar to you. But I may have just like not like written it off as like, oh, just Aaron being Aaron again. But I think you make some interesting points there.
No,
And especially when you
is
consider
it?
like the way Armin's face was when he saw Aaron again, like I think that like reinforces your point even more.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
definitely agree
because
with
they
that.
see because when they saw each other again last episode, they going and a lot of people showed this. I know I get a lot of things from TikTok, but that's what happens when you're on TikTok a lot, is like kind of like showing clips of when they used to like see each other again for a long time, because they'd always be like super excited to see each other, and then like they'd be super happy and either like hug or like they would shake hands or whatever. There were certain points where like Armin would save the day and he would like grab Aaron's hand in a certain way, and now it's just like they're strangers. Like he looks down at him and he's like, whatever, and then takes his hand again, like just as if he was like trying to help a stranger out. So the excitement isn't there like it used to be to see each other.
Yeah.
Sad face.
Very sad.
Yeah, it's a sad time. And the rest of the conversation at the gun range is very much Armin trying to kind of be positive and try to think of different ways. And like you said, Christian, like there should be other ways other than like causing huge like corrupt, like doing something like the rumbling seems to be like absurd. and we shouldn't be threatening them with the rumbling. Like, we should find different ways. Maybe we'd be able to talk to them. Like, maybe we could talk to the outsiders and see if we can work with them, rather than instantly instigating, like, hey, we have this huge thing, we can like fuck up everybody if we use it. But Aaron says, like, so what do you mean? Like, what time do you think you have to talk to everyone to kind of get this sorted out? And Mikasa and Armin spend a lot of this time like trying to talk him into different ways, but Aaron is very set on his own specific thought, which kind of frustrated me a little bit. And then I think this is the one particular scene that really cemented that and is mad at Aaron was when it went from Aaron talking and then saying that, like, that's right, and Tobias, this time we have to keep them at bay. He takes a shot and then the screen turns red and we see the bullet that he took a shot of go right into Sasha.
Yes,
So I
dude,
think
that
he puts the
transition was
blame
so
on-
good.
Oh,
Sorry.
it was fantastic.
Sorry, I
thought
cut
it
you
was-
off in the middle
Yeah.
of something, Fee. I'm so sorry.
No. I know, like, my the actress, so that would probably be a lot more helpful if I didn't like lag out a little bit. But yeah, it was so well done here, and I think this was also another reason why it cements that Armin's just putting the blame on Aaron.
Mm.
Yeah, which honestly, I can agree with it for sure.
Remember when Ruben put
Um,
a poll asking if Aaron was a good person or not, or something like that?
No,
Yeah.
I said
How'd
if
that
Aaron
go?
did the right thing.
Oh, gotcha.
Let's check the poll. Give me a sec. Hold on.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, by all means, continue. I'll just let you know.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay.
Then we get the intermission, which is nuts. And because this is go for it.
No.
Go
Keep
for it.
going, then I'll add something after.
Okay. They specifically say the scout fleet was formed to investigate Parody Island after the operation to retake the founding Titan had failed. Not a single one has returned to Marley to this date.
Yes, I have something very nerdy to add to that. If you
Okay.
guys wanna entertain me for a minute.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Oh, please, Christian.
Okay, have you guys are you guys familiar with the book The Handmaid's Tale?
Yes.
Never
So
heard of it.
okay, spoilers for the book Handmaid's Tale. At the end, it's revealed that like this whole story is actually a group of scientists put together a bunch of like journal copies together the best way they could, and they don't know if it's what, Ruben?
No, I'm just kidding. I thought you were spoiling.
We're just playing shocked. It's clickbait.
And so it's like entirely told through the lens of these scientists, being like, it's backwards looking. So like the historical lens I put in that one flash of screen alone in between, like, you know, the commercial break or whatever you want to call it, made me question where in time like the telling of this story is. I don't know anymore, especially with like all the flashbacks we're getting. You know, the time skip forward, I don't know when this telling is, and I thought that was very interesting for me to think about, even if there's no actual answer to.
Well, there are like what's funny is like this is without any spoilers because this has been something that's been in talks for like seasons. That there's a few ideas what's going to happen at the end of Attack on Titan, and one of them is that Armin's actually the narrator, and that Armin's specifically telling the entire story from when the Colossal Titan hit the wall to the ending. Like that's one of the theories. So I could definitely see that happening where
That's a theory that I've always had since the beginning of Attack on Titan. I've always thought Armin was the one telling the story.
That's something similar to I forget what somebody people keep making a similar theory to something else, and I forget what it is, and it's just it might be the same thing that we're talking about, but I think it's something different. Just reminded me of that. Sorry.
Is it Seinfeld?
Oh, of course not. No, we know that's Jerry's
my
life.
God.
Just a heads up on the poll.
Okay.
So 9 people said maybe. 10 people said no.
Why'd you put a maybe? Okay.
Because
10 people said no.
10 people said no. Did Aaron do the
Uh-huh.
right thing was the question. And unfortunately,
Oh.
6 people said yes. So
Okay, so the no's are in the majority. Good.
I mean, if you count
Yeah.
the maybes as a yes,
We
No,
don't.
you
They're
don't.
a maybe.
No.
I don't know.
No,
about
you
that,
count them as
guys.
maybe.
You can count them as yes.
No. You count that as a maybe. Why
Okay.
have at that point you don't even put a maybe, you just put yes or no, black or white.
Okay. All right. You're right. You guys are
Put them
right.
down in the middle, and then that would still mean that we're
So if you take half of 10, it's 5.
5. Yeah.
And technically 5 is less than 6. So
Damn.
Yes.
Yes,
right.
but then they'd also get 5. So wouldn't that be less than
I don't know. I'm
whatever
just
that
saying.
number is?
I'm just saying.
What's
No,
34 plus 35?
69.
Thank you, Ariana Grande.
Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, okay. You guys were I could see, like I said last episode, I could see both sides of it. How Aaron did the wrong thing, but also Aaron did the right thing. That's all I'm saying. I could see both sides.
Thank you, Ruben.
No problem. But I still think he did the right
wow.
thing. Stick to it.
Well, guess what? There's a lot of
What?
people who don't agree with you, Ruben.
You want me to take this
Which
to
is
Twitter?
actually the entire group does not believe that Armin did the correct thing. So
Okay.
I'm just saying, Armin, you're against Armin right now.
I'm not against Armin. I'm against Aaron.
Armin doesn't agree with what Aaron's doing right now. Just
Listen,
saying. He did not think that
Armin
Aaron
is
did the
also
right thing.
like a little whiny baby, you know? Like,
You should watch
You're gonna say that too?
what?
Oh, go.
You think Armin's a whiny baby? You should watch that Demon Slayer show.
ah,
Tell you what.
I'm watching it now, and man, oh man, I
Okay.
have problems with this show. But that we're
Christian,
saying,
when you put that tweet out, I was in shock.
I mean, granted. No, I'm gonna stop because this is a whole different conversation.
thank you, I appreciate that. We'll continue this later.
Oh wow. Okay.
Possibly on Anime Nation. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow. Anime
Any
Nation.
content.
Probably
Heck
not.
yeah.
That show's really rigged. I heard.
Oh God.
Wow. Okay, we're gonna go
Just
right
saying.
back into it now. We get into the the intermission.
Yeah.
To a really sad part. We end up on a very rainy day, and we are now in present time. To what's happening at this moment. We see that it's Mikasa sitting beside Sasha's grave, kind of with her knees up against her chest and just looking really somber, obviously. And it's very upsetting scene to just like that. Like you could have just shown that, and I would have still like been like in hysterics essentially, just because of you don't really realize like how close Mikasa and Sasha, like they were roommates. Like someone pointed out that like she probably doesn't want to go back because they literally share a room, and if she goes back, she just sees an empty room.
Oh, that would
which
have been nice to
was,
see.
Yeah, I know when they were like literally in training, they were roommates. I don't know if they're like, but it's so sad.
Yeah.
I hated it. I like, but yeah, they show the grave. There is a bouquet of yellow flowers, 2 notes, a letter, and a few single flowers. And we hear kind of like a man yelling in the distance, and Mikasa lifts up her head, and he's just like, "Hey, aren't you Marlian? What the hell are you doing here? People that you've killed are in these graves." And proceeds to continue to like punch at this like whoever it is. We can't see from where Mikasa's sitting because all she sees is graves and then a man. But then we see Connie and Jean run over, telling the soldier to stop and that they'll take care of him, and then apologize. The soldier tells him that he shouldn't be here, and they go back. He walks away, And we find out that the person who the guy was attacking was Niccolo. And they both ask him, like, are you okay? And she, like, he doesn't even answer and says, damn it, why? Is Sasha really dead? And John said, yeah. And Niccolo raises his voice and asks them what the hell they were doing.
Mhm.
And that hit hard because you can tell like how much Niccolo cares for her. And now with all the flowers that I listed off, there is now 24 white roses. Damn. I put because that's a lot of like you don't just like I said earlier, you do not just take that many roses to someone who just buys food at your shop.
Right.
That's a
Yeah.
that's a I really like you or slash love you kind of thing. But I
I did like
digress.
that it like isn't like really defined though. Like it's just like a kind of this
Yeah.
they just care about each other kind of deal. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's nice.
I know some people like last episode like this is a theory when Sasha like her last word is meat in Japanese is Nico, which people believe that she would like that's actually Niccolo's nickname, which is Nico. So some people think that she wasn't actually calling out for meat, that she was calling out for Niccolo at her like when she was dying.
Wow.
Which makes it even more upsetting.
Oh, I love
And I
that.
hate it. That's why I said I'll tell you next episode because yeah, that's a running theory that everyone has. It's not confirmed, but
But you would miss that completely if you're watching the dub.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is why some people are saying like that must be um just like a theory, like it's not confirmed, but it would like I think it adds like a for people who watch the sub and then just being able to put two and two together, it's kind of nice to be like, wow, like that just seems like a little bit too coincidental.
Mhm.
But it also seems on brand for Sasha to just like meet at her dying words, because especially since she was talking about food earlier, but who knows? Um and yeah. So he kind of like goes into the 5 stages and just says like, why did this happen? Like, why did you let this happen? And Mikasa had to explain like it wasn't just like a random child, it was a trained child who knew how to shoot a gun. And then he kind of says like, oh, it must like a warrior unit. So he must have knew that it was like one of the children that were raised from their youth to become a soldier. But still really upsetting. And he says like it was a like attack in the airship. This seems too ridiculous. Um, but they continue to try to like console him. And then John apologizes that he had his guard down. And then Nicola said, "Why are you apologizing to me? All I did was cook her food." Um, oh, Connie adds, "Thanks for letting her eat so much food, Niccolo." And then Niccolo asks Connie what he thinks of all this. And then that's when he says, "Sasha and I were like twins. It feels like half of me is gone." Um, which is very difficult because they were so close through the 4 seasons. And then we hear footsteps and we see Sasha's dad, her mother, and Kea, who is actually the young girl that Sasha saved in season 2 from getting eaten by a Titan.
Mhm.
Um, who we find out that they have all come to her grave with a bunch of lilies. And while Kea and Sasha's mom are crying over her grave, um, Sasha's dad asks, like, y'all knew my daughter, did you? Um, and God, this is so sad. We then see a bunch of them. This particular scene, Niccolo said, like, he doesn't, like, you can tell that he wants to say something, and then he just kind of bursts out, like, I'm a captive of Marley, but I'm allowed to work as a chef. For your daughter loved eating my food more than anything. If you ever wanted to come, please come and eat my food. And Sasha's dad, in the true Sasha family tradition, says on the house question mark. And then yeah, it seemed like it was funny because it seemed like something Sasha would say, like free food. So it was kind of a nice comedic moment, but it was still really upsetting.
But to me, it
And
was like,
now,
oh, sorry.
oh no, continue.
To me, it was like, he could almost tell that there was like some kind of relationship, and it was like, it's not exactly like, oh, we're family, so like you're gonna treat us to like food because our daughter's dead type of deal, but like in that same sentiment, if that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah, this whole scene seemed like it was a kind of a nice nod, and you could see that there was definitely something there between Niccolo because of
Mhm.
how people were treating him. Because if he was just like a random chef, they wouldn't have thought to like they would have probably let him get beat.
Yeah.
But since he cared so much for Sasha, that's why they were able to escort him to her grave and then apologize for the entire situation. So, which that's unfortunate for Connie for being put in the friend zone. But
It is what it is.
shrug.
It
Yeah, it is what it
happens.
is. It happens. Now we have our favorite detective duo in a cart. We see inside of the walls and people reading newspapers on the street, and Zeke in a carriage. He says, "You guys are calling it a victory. Isn't ignorance a scary thing?" The person who's in the carriage with him is Levi. Oh my god. Levi says, "If I send your body to Marley and reveal your little plot, your Gramps and Granny are done for. But if the secret plan of yours is real, I could wait to chop you up. Either works for me."
Mhm.
um, Zeke thanks him for his graciousness, and then says, "Well, shouldn't I see Aaron first?" And he says, "You don't need to be in a hurry. We have the finest hotel here for you, and you get to stay in there and relax for a while." Um, yeah, that is quite the scene as well, because we find out that's kind of skipping ahead, but yeah, it's not a hotel, it's a forest.
It's just a forest.
It's
It's just some trees.
Yeah. Oh man, it was.
it
I
is.
thought it was funny. You know.
Oh yeah,
They're having a
the
good
Pikachu
time.
face that Zeke was making as he was looking up at the trees. He's just like, "This is a hotel," and he's just like, God, like his mouth is open, and it reminded me very much of like the shocked Pikachu.
Oh yeah. Good callback. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, his face was priceless, and they have a quick back and forth, and Zeke asks him like, "Hey, can Gabby and Falco see this?" And he says, Levi tells them, "As long as you don't act up and you stay civil, we might like their safety is up to you." But yeah, we also unfortunately see that the relationship that the anti-Marleyan volunteers and the people of Parody is on rocky roads, because we see that Yelena brought back a bunch of serum, Titan serum, with the rest of her squad, but we realize that they're actually being surrounded by a bunch of people in Parody. And she says, "Well, isn't it funny that these guns were specifically used to go against the Marleyans, but now they're being pointed directly at the Eldians of Marley?" So that was a little bit of an awkward scene, but yeah, that was a rocky road. And then going back to the kids, we see that they're in jail. Falco and Gabby are sitting in a room together. Um, Falco's just looking out the window, just living his life in a cage, and Gabby is chewing on her thumb, growling Aaron's name over and over again.
She needs to.
She needs,
She needs a healthy way to cope. Is what I need. Is all I'll say.
yeah. We only saw Aaron get that bad when he consumed 2 Titans.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's 2 Titan Aaron.
She's got nothing in
Actually,
her.
we have never seen Aaron without a Titan. We've only ever seen him with the Founding Titan and the um, Founding Titan and the Attack Titan, other than the scene with like Mikasa. and before his dad went into the went on his trip. Those were the only times that we ever saw Aaron without those Titans. Yeah. So he's only ever been that angry. I'm pointing that out for the people who are like, well, Gabby gets a pass because Aaron was like a kid and he got upset. It's just like he's had 2 Titans in him the entire time. Like he has a reason. She has no reason other than the fact she's just angry. I'm getting it. I'm not okay with Gabby sympathizers, guys. But I digress.
As you shouldn't be.
Going back
We're
to
talking
it.
about Gabby sympathizers. I'm here. Hello.
Oh my
What?
god, no, Ryan. Ryan, no.
I'm just gonna cut off his mic. Give me a sec.
Thank you.
Oh.
It's mostly okay. Here's the thing: the people that are like sympathizers of Gabby are typically manga readers, except for me. Does not matter. She's still.
A bitch.
I'm not sympathizing with her.
Whoa. Can we say that?
That was mostly a joke.
Can we
What?
say that about children?
She said, you said she's mostly, and I finished your sentence, a bitch.
I didn't say. Okay,
I
didn't
finished
think I
your
said anything
sentence.
bad.
No, I finished
Oh
your
my
sentence.
I mean, I'm not a fan of this. I'm just not a fan. Good golly gosh. Yeah. We find out that the person who Armin has been telling the story to the entire time is Annie in the crystal. And Armin says, "Hey Annie, say something, please." And we see no response whatsoever. Shocking. It's been 3 years that you've been talking to well, probably 4 years since you started talking to a frozen girl, and she still hasn't responded to you yet. But who knows? Probably some hope. And we see the sunset, and Mikasa's still sitting at Sasha's grave, still holding her scarf up across her mouth. She says, "Fight or die, win and live." And now we see a dark tiled room again with a sink, and the person standing over the sink is Aaron himself, shirtless with an ape pack, putting his hair into a ponytail / man bun, and says, "The only way to win is to fight." And we now see Aaron in the shirtless without a shirt again. Yeah.
Aaron
Yeah.
in the shirtless without the shirt again.
But
That's a great
In
way
the
to
shirt.
you know
describe
what?
it.
I had a headache when I wrote that last part. Give
Oh
me a
yeah,
break.
sure. A
Okay,
headache.
but
A headache. Wink, wink, cough, cough. It's okay.
yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah. But yeah.
Am I the only person that thought it was weird that Armin has been talking to Annie this entire episode?
It's strange, but I get it because like he has nobody else to really talk to, you know?
But doesn't he? I feel like he has pretty much everybody except, I would say probably except for me, Mikasa, to talk to. Like he literally has a whole squad of people to help cope with it. If you're talking about
She's not a Titan though. She doesn't understand like
Okay.
that response to that
Okay.
heaviness.
all right,
Yeah.
but like, what does he expect is going to happen? That she's going to? Oh, never mind. Future spoilers. Future spoilers.
Well, no, it's he like you can tell that he's one of the people that cares, unlike some people, and he probably thinks that that's like some way that like maybe she's listening, maybe she like it's almost like talking to someone who's in a coma, where
Mhm.
he's just telling her everything that's happening to kind of keep her up to date because like, well, what happens if she like wakes up? Like maybe she did hear everything that I've been saying. So it's yeah, he has other people, but like those other people have other to like lean on. And the people that he leans on to the most, especially Mikasa and Eren, like yeah, Mikasa's still there, but Mikasa's still struggling with the fact that the guy that she's been in love with since she was a kid is now a homicidal maniac,
Yeah.
but still clinging on to that. And
That she's
he
kind of
probably
into.
it's
though.
just I mean, some people are just really into that. You know what I mean? Like they just
No, but
really
I-
want the
I-
bad guy, like the bad boy.
I feel like she's kind of into it just because of the fact that like she goes ape shit on Titans, you know? Like so she kind of takes some joy in it. Obviously not killing people, but you know,
Do you
Well, they
want to
are
know
people.
something?
this is true.
Oh, what? Don't know what?
Really
Yes, I
cool
do.
about the credits?
What?
Yes.
So, if you look at the credits at the very end of the episode, I'm going to show you what it typically looks like. Give me 1 second here. I just did this. So I'm going to send this in the Attack on Titan.
Okay.
Okay. I did not know where it was. For a second, I'm like, what is life anyway? Okay, so this is what it usually looks like. I got this from a TikTok because I had it open. So this is what it usually looks like. These are the, like, in Japanese, those are the actual voice actors. So these are actors, and the top one is Aaron. The next one after that are, like, the people that he's usually, like, buddy with.
Right.
In this episode, if you notice this particular screenshot, they've separated Aaron from everybody else
Oh, interesting.
because some people believe that this is them saying like no one is like on Aaron's side anymore. Like no one believes in Aaron. Like we saw Levi like kind of like be questionable about Aaron's actions. Armin's now upset, and you could tell that him discussing like what happened, putting the blame on Aaron for Sasha's death, and then everyone else kind of being on the fence. And I think Mikasa's there too. So yeah, that's what someone pointed out, is it's been separated.
These fucking Attack on Titan fans, man.
I
I didn't
know.
even notice
That's
that. That's insane.
A different breed, truly.
That's what I love about it. Also, thank you. What is it? It's in Ineria. That's the person who I got the TikTok from who pointed it out. So thank you for that. It was, yeah, I didn't even notice that until someone pointed it out, and I'm like, this is insane.
That's cool.
Pretty
Yeah.
interesting.
We love Attack on Titan, guys.
Oh yeah.
There's so many different things.
I enjoy it.
It sounded like
Wow.
you were gonna say something different.
I
It definitely
also enjoy it.
Wow. What are your gripes about it?
No, we'll save that for
I
like
just-
the end.
I mean, I'll say my gripes right now because we're at a
please
good
do
place
it.
for my gripes. I've had the same problem with Attack on Titan since the beginning, where I'm not a big fan of the main three characters of this show of Eren, Armin, and Mikasa.
Okay.
The most interesting one out of them is Armin. Like, Mikasa has a very one-sided personality, same with Eren. But the side characters that they don't really expound upon are always the best parts of this show.
Mm-hmm.
And up until now, the plot has always kind of been the same of just, well, Aaron's here, so we either need to rescue him, go do something for him, find his house, whatever it may be. Try. The only season I really, really liked of it on a like all levels of it was season 3 first half, where it was about Kenny and Kenny trying to like all the political stuff of that. I thought that was cool and everything. It's like we're getting Historia stuff then and all that. And now we're back to just heavy Aaron, but I know where it's going, so I'm excited to see all that. Everything. This is the season where I'm ready for Aaron to get what's coming to him. Because you can only be like this for so long without having to rip the consequences of your life choices.
I will say to Ryan's point, I think if you barring the whole like children aspect of it, like I think when you look at them as like 12 or 13-year-olds, whenever that first time jump happens, I think probably Armin has had the most character development. Mikasa and Eren have been pretty static.
Yeah, I'd have to agree
more
with
or
that.
less.
Yeah.
No, it's been rough to like I 100% agree. And I think I agree that this episode should have been more focused on Sasha. Because they've had episodes where they just focused on like Historian Ymir, and they had episodes where they just focused on some other characters. But I think this would have been a great opportunity to be able to kind of like either A, focus on Sasha because she had been there for like she was such a monumental character, just being able to see like how she affected everybody else. And then they could have had kind of like those like little flashbacks um in the next episode where Armin's kind of explaining because I think that would have been kind of helpful because I think it kind of made it a little bit choppy because they were trying to put some focus on Sasha, but also the focus on the whole Zeke and the plan.
Yeah.
So I think it could have hit a lot more if they put this episode as Sasha, then the next episode being like why we're here, because everyone's now questioning the whole situation. I think if I had to specifically write this, and by all means, like I'm not like it whatsoever, I think it would have been cool to like have that and then the end of the episode being like them just kind of like questioning Aaron, then showing like maybe Armin venting to Annie in the basement and about the whole situation. But I digress. I also am just a huge Sasha fan, and I liked that dynamic between her, Connie, and Jean. Like you could see there's more progression with those three than Aaron being a sad emo boy to more sad emo boy. Like I think
To
he evolved that way,
advanced
but
sad emo boy.
I think
with an APAC.
again, you're really focused on that APAC fee. That's all I got to say.
As well, we all
Okay,
should be.
first of all,
As everyone should
oh,
be.
believe me.
I'm just saying. But no, I definitely think that this episode should have focused on that trio instead of Armin and Zeke and everybody else. It should have just been. It should have focused on Sasha and how
Yeah.
Jean and Connie were like coping. But it is what it is.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it would have been nice to have that slight dynamic, especially with knowing what's already happened, which was like an intense like number of episodes, and then what's going to be happening forward, like in like when we get into like more of like the what's happening in the manga. Like obviously you guys don't know what's happening. My wording's all over the place, but I digress. I think it would have been nice to just have that kind of like closure with that character rather than just being like, oh, here's just a few scenes and then making it very confusing because they didn't really explain the fact that it was like they say 3 years ago and then they jump right into present day without even saying if it's present day and then just kind of like did Sasha die 3 years ago and then like what's happening here? So so we kind of see that kind of like jump back and forth. So I think there could have been a little bit of more clear explanation where it like started and where it ended. But no, I personally think there should have been like a whole episode about Sasha and then maybe seeing more about Nicolo, because I think that would have hit harder if people knew like maybe more of their relationship or whatever was going on between Nicolo and Sasha, because all we saw was her loving the food and him blushing because she was getting really excited over it.
And that's all it was.
I'm just saying there are more characters in this world than fucking Eren Yeager. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but who has two titans in them, you know?
I don't give a fuck.
Oh,
Sasha's
whoa,
a person
Now
too.
three.
Now three, yeah.
Oh, epic. Yeah,
I also
almost,
appreciate
almost
the
four.
fact I appreciate the fact that like Ryan's essentially saying what Hanji said last episode, where they keep on following Eren, and every time they follow Eren, they keep on, and that they're just she's like the character itself is like at a breaking point with Eren, where they were just calling him out, saying like, "We keep on helping you, we keep on losing people, and then you keep on doing the same thing over and over again. Like you're the reason why we're here." And that's what's
we
that?
share similar. There's a reason why Hanji is my icon at this moment.
Yeah.
We share similar
That's
views.
not the reason why. We just love Hanji, you know?
I mean, that is true. We do love Hanji.
We do love Hanji.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Her bad acting.
Oh, yeah. That was probably like the highlight of the episode, though.
It was so good.
If I'm being honest, just her acting was just great.
I just want to see more of Sasha and Nicolo, but I digress.
No.
Maybe someday we'll get a spinoff.
Someday.
someday.
Oh yes, the Attack on Titan cooking spinoff I've been waiting.
Dude, I was
for.
gonna say the same thing. Yes.
Yeah. It's just him
my God.
cooking and her eating it for a good
Yeah,
20 minutes.
it's literally Attack on Titan, the shoujo, and it's literally Sasha and like her reverse harem with Niccolo, Connie, Jean, and the rest of the guys. Jean, I'm sorry, and the rest of the guys.
Horse
we go.
face.
I'm okay with that. I mean, hey,
I
they
love
did a freaking high school edition of the show. I think
Junior
this is
high.
yeah.
Mhm.
I feel like they could at least make a cooking show off of it.
Bet. Say less.
Absolutely.
But I digress. Do we want to say anything else before we close the show? Fee? Want to mention Aaron's apps one more time, or?
I mean, you just mentioned them for us.
I mean, I'm just making
It's
sure.
true. You
know.
mentioned them again. You mentioned them.
I don't know.
Oh my
if
God.
I mentioned them again. This is the first time I mentioned them.
Dude,
You've mentioned them a few times.
No, Fee's mentioned them a few times.
I mean, you've mentioned them more times right now than I have the entire episode. I don't know.
I only mentioned it once. Anyway.
mentioned it multiple times at this point.
No.
Sunday afternoon when I went on Twitter, the anime aesthetics accounts that I follow were just tweeting pictures of Aaron's abs, and I was like, "This isn't an aesthetic, but I appreciate it.
But isn't it though? Isn't
I do
it?
like to see
It
it."
is.
No,
It's because
that's
here's the
all.
thing. It's because they realize that all these characters are now of age, and they're like, so now we can show Aaron without a top on, and now we're gonna show multiple other characters. Who knows? Who knows?
Fee, maybe next episode we get Levi. I'm just saying.
Once again,
Reiner and some
No.
Calvin Kleins. I don't know.
Oh God.
And Cowboy Reiner. Give me a cowboy hat.
Oh man, that's something I
Ooh.
don't want to see.
hang on,
That's not anything I want to see.
my God, no. We
No.
have all the tall guys now. We have Jean, we have Niccolo, we have I guess Aaron because he's 6 feet.
Oh boy.
I'm just
Okay.
saying.
Christian.
Welcome.
Tall now?
Yeah, he's like
He's the
5'10",
tallest
but-
one, you know.
Armin. No,
I mean,
he's
he
not.
is.
Colossal
If you think about it,
Titan.
he is.
Colossal Titan. Yes, he is.
I know what you're trying to get at.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He's the bomb. I'm sorry.
Well done. Well done.
Slow clap.
Christian, did you want to mention anything else before we close out the show?
Can't wait for episode 69.
It's gonna be great.
That's it.
So help me God, if there's no romance in episode 69, I'm gonna be very upset. Like, I feel like Levi and
There's no room for romance.
come on,
anywhere in
like
this show.
just like, okay, yeah, you're right. It's not gonna happen.
The only
but-
romance that they had was like 10 seconds long, and then they proceeded to kill out the only LGBTQ like couple in the like season 3. So rest
Yeah.
in peace.
But like maybe this is the episode where, you know, Aaron tells Mikasa how he really feels. How he's just dead inside. And
Yeah,
he has no room for romance. I'd take
Oh
that.
my
I'd take
God.
that. Ryan, do you have anything else to add before we close out the show?
Just excited to see where everything goes, like usual. Even though a slower episode, still very much interested. Mostly with what is Zeke going to do out in those forests? Is he going to be permanently be Beast Titan?
But also, like,
is a little-
what did he expect with that, you know? Sorry to cut you off, Ryan.
I promise you, he was expecting a prison cell. He's happy with the forest.
Dude, I was expecting.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, it is what it is. We'll see what happens. Fee, where can people find you?
People can find me at Twitch and Twitter with my handle that's over there. It's Zeranix. And you can find me here on this podcast where I talk about Attack on Titan.
Okay.
Thumbs up. Yeah.
Ryan, where can people find you?
People can find me on Twitter at RyanTheLion3055 for most things anime, hot takes, whatever it may be.
Okay, cool. And Christian, where can people find you?
Nice.
Hello. They can find me at IsoChristian on Twitter and Twitch. I want to plug my movie podcast because Ruben was just on the show, and we just had a director
yeah.
/ actor interview that went live today.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
really cool.
Oh yeah.
Double heck yeah.
Who's the director?
Palmer Wells.
That was where you're gonna have to see. You're gonna have to wait and see to find out.
That's
okay. That's
yes.
okay. That's okay. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. We'll work on it. We'll work on it. Okay.
Where can
Tomorrow.
people find you, Ruben?
Well, people could find me tomorrow on this channel where we have a special guest coming back to the show, and it's going to be very exciting. Who that guest is, you have to find out tomorrow, 7:00 p.m. Eastern.
Very good.
Yeah,
I'll be there. I'm excited.
I don't know. Will you? We'll see.
I think so.
Well, we don't know. We don't know.
Okay.
Thank you guys for joining us once again. Have a good night.
Absolutely.
I love you.
Goodbye.
Love you.